Imagine this. You spend years writing, editing, perfecting your books, and then one day you log into your account and it says account terminated. No warning, no appeal, you're just done. Now, I'm not hating against self-publishing. That's not what this video is about. But this happens to many people, and basically, this is one of the reasons why I'm choosing trad publishing for my thriller novel. It's not so much that I don't want to self-publish, it's more a risk management issue for me. Okay, so managing the risk. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about. If you want to support the channel, feel free to join my membership. It's only $1.99. You get custom emojis, badges, and prioritized replies on all your comments. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so I alluded to this in the introduction earlier, but basically, account terminations, it doesn't have to be KDP, it could be any platform, alright? And they can literally ban or suspend anyone for any reason, right? It's their sandbox. We have to recognize that. Whether you're right or you're wrong or anything in between, it doesn't matter. The point about this is that there are hidden risks in self-publishing, and this is one of the major risks. You could just get deplatformed, okay? And then you'll have to find other solutions. So if your book is really successful, you're at the mercy of these platforms. And one of the reasons, trad publishing is not going to vanish overnight, basically, because they have different agreements with these platforms. So like trad publishing houses, they have separate agreements with all their vendors, right? And they take a lot of time to perfect that. Anyway, it could be any reason why you could get terminated. Algorithm stuff, maybe, who knows, policy violations, it doesn't matter, right? But this is a major risk, account terminations. Now, the other main challenge for self-publishing, which is a lot of time. It's a lot of time, and it can be a lot of money as well. So anything from editing, cover design, marketing, 100% out of pocket. Obviously there are ways to do this for free, but the point is that it's never free. There may be a cost that's free, but it's never time that's free. Okay, so if you're getting editing done for free, you're bartering maybe something you have that you can exchange in return. If you're doing the cover design yourself, you have the skill, but it takes your time, alright? And also, self-publishing, because there's no barrier to entry, the market is really, really quite saturated, in my opinion. There's always a way you can get into a niche. I'm not arguing about that, but basically, anyone can get into it, and the fact is many people do get into it, alright? But basically, you're running a business, it's a lot of time. There's also limited access to bookstores and libraries compared to trad houses. Trad houses are much more able to easily get into bookstores and libraries, right? I'm talking like the physical books. So bookstores generally, it's not as easy to stock a self-published book because space is valuable, right? They got limited space, they want to sell books. So if your book is not like a big seller, they're unlikely to want to stock that. Obviously, if you're a big seller, then it doesn't matter, they will happily take your book, but let's face it, not many of us are in that category. It's kind of like a tail curve, if you like. Most people don't sell many, a few people sell huge amounts, and the middle in between, some sell a few here and there, but nothing to be like really talking about like numbers wise. So anyway, those are some of the challenges in self-publishing. There's cost, there's time, limited access to bookstores and libraries sometimes. So yeah, that's just another aspect to consider for the risk of self-publishing. Okay, so why am I choosing trad publishing? I mean, even though it is incredibly difficult to get into. So despite all the risks of self-publishing, trad is not easy, okay? But for me, I'm thinking it's worth the risk. It's worth my time to invest. So all those issues that I mentioned earlier about self-publishing is basically the pros for the trad publishing aspect. So for example, there's no risks of being deplatformed. But obviously you're then at the mercy of the trad house as to what contract you get and what agreements they agree with the vendors. So you're kind of relinquishing a lot of control there, right? But you don't have a risk of being deplatformed by KDP or anywhere else. But that is the pros and cons for that one. There's typically also like, it feels like an industry credibility and bookstore access. It may be more a perception thing, right? But that's one of the things that it's really tough to crack as an indie author. Industry credibility and bookstore access. And this third one, I'm not going to go on too much, but the third pro is that there are opportunities for foreign rights, films, TV deals, stuff like that. You would not normally get that with like a self-published indie thing. Or you would have to have the right connections and seek the opportunities out. I don't know anything about that because, well, I'm a small fish. No one cares about me basically. But here's the thing about trad publishing, the downsides to it. All right, I've already mentioned it. It's highly competitive. Not everyone's gonna get it. Agents are difficult to get. Trad deals are difficult to land. All right. Most agents and publishers reject books. That's just the reality of it. So I need to be prepared for that. If you want to choose the trad route, need to be prepared for that as well. And also it takes, the process is much slower. All right, so they have like a process. Usually it takes quite a few months, maybe even years to go through a book. So let's say you've written it, you've refined it, then it goes through the editing process with them, and then the cover process, and then there's like a pre-launch kind of process, right? They hype it up over a few months, that kind of thing, and then it gets published. After it's published, then there's the marketing thing, which starts before publishing formally, and then marketing really starts, really ramps up, right? So if you want something like a quick, published straight away, your name's on a book, it's accessible out in the world right now, trad publishing is not for you. It's going to take ages to land a publisher or an agent. It's going to take ages to go through the book and the process with that. So yeah, that's one of the major downsides. And also I mentioned this loss of creative control. The publishers have pretty much like almost the final say. So like the covers, the marketing, the keywords, the finessing of your manuscript, that they will have significant control over that. Obviously the story is still going to be like the same, but it won't be exactly the same because they've got editing, they've got copy editing, they've got developmental edits that go through, so stuff like that. Anyway, trad publishing is going to be a major grind, but for me, I'm gonna take a chance on this because of the risk of self-publishing with the fiction stuff. I'm gonna try the trad publishing route. So in my opinion, I'm weighing the risks, and I'm thinking the long-term benefits for trad outweigh the risks at this point. So I'm gonna give it my best shot. I don't know if it's gonna go my way or not, but I'm gonna give it a try. If you're curious about the ways that you can get your book published, I've already mentioned a couple here, but check out this video right here. Or if you've already got a few books out there but they aren't selling, check out this video for some book marketing ideas. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you there.